Crash Rewind.
There's just 3 days left to go before N. Sane Trilogy releases on PS4, so it's time to continue our look back at Crash Bandicoot's history to see what was the shit and what was just shit. Yesterday we took a look at the best and worst levels of the series, but no Crash Bandicoot game would be complete without also having boxes to break, jewels to obtain,
And oh, bad guys to kill.
Crash has built up quite a rogues gallery over the years, so it's time to take a look back at the top 5 best and worst Crash Bandicoot bosses. Let's get the low-hanging fruit out of the way first and deal with Papu Papu. Without a shadow of a doubt, Papu Papu is the most pathetic boss in the original Naughty Dog trilogy. I can appreciate that they wanted to ease us into boss fights with a foe who wouldn't be too challenging, but Papu Papu is just laughable. He just slams the ground with his staff, then slowly spins it around before attempting to hit you again. You can very easily outrun or jump over it, and once you've done that, it's very easy to get behind him and boop him on the head. Do that 3 times and boom, you're done, fight's over. Fortunately, Vicarious Visions seem to be basing Papu Papu's difficulty off of the Japanese version of the game in N. Sane Trilogy by giving him 5 hits instead of 3. I imagine he'll still pretty much be a pushover though. One of the things Crash Twinsanity absolutely nails right at the start is the boss fights. You start off with a fairly easy fight against Neo Cortex, kinda similar to his fight at the end of the first game. You just need to wait for him to fire a certain attack, then spin it straight back at him. Do it 3 times and you win! Except not really, because here comes Mecha Bandicoot to shake things up. Mecha Bandicoot has 3 different attacks: Missile Barrage, Chainsaw, and the exact same Plasma Blast Cortex was using. Just like with the Cortex fight, you need to wait for Mecha Bandicoot to fire a Plasma Blast, then spin it straight back at him. But this time it's a little trickier because you don't have as much room to avoid his attacks. Once you've hit him twice, he loses the Chainsaw. Hit him twice more, and he loses the Missile Launcher, leaving him with just the Plasma Cannon. Spin his explosive bogeys back at him 3 more times to destroy it and win. Now that is an excellent first boss fight. Has anybody ever wondered what would happen if Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon were pitted against each other in a battle to the death? Just imagine how awesome that showdown would be. Well, wonder no more, because Crash Fusion and Spyro Fusion are here for the Game Boy Advance to answer this question once and for all, and to provide us with the ultimate showdown that we always wanted. Crash and Spyro standing on opposite bridges above a ravine and throwing sticks of dynamite at each other to destroy the bridges and make the other fall into the ravine. That's it. This is the epic showdown against Spyro the Dragon. Throwing sticks of dynamite at him until he falls into a hole. God damn it, Vicarious Visions, I thought you were better than this. Wrath of Cortex's boss fights were, well, not great, but if I had to choose my favourite, then I would definitely have to choose the 4th boss fight, Atmospheric Pressure. Powered up by the Air Elemental, who shares a voice actor with Crash in the new games funnily enough, Crunch Bandicoot is now a floating giant armed with energy balls, shockwaves, and
Frickin' laser beam!
and Crash needs to use his glider to take him down. The fight can be a little tricky, some of Crunch's attacks are difficult to dodge, but that just makes it all the more satisfying when you deliver enough punishment to take him down and watch him fucking explode. Remember what I just said about Wrath of Cortex not having the best boss fights? Well, here's the shittiest fight in the game, Rumble in the Rocks. Apparently the only power Crunch is able to get from Biff Tannen Mask is to encase himself in a giant ball. All you do in this fight is roll around, avoid Crunch, and bump into smaller balls in order to induce what appears to be an acid trip. This fight isn't hard, it's just long and tedious, and honestly, that can be worse than a difficult fight.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
Oh.
Huh? Think, McFly. Think.
Holy crap. Just look at that thing. Tiny Tiger is the best boss in Crash Bandicoot 2 because of the way the fight works. You don't have Aku Aku to protect you in this battle, and Tiny himself is completely invincible. Touching him will kill you, so you need to lure him onto the floating platforms just as they're about to fall, so he doesn't have time to jump to safety. Tiny may be strong, but he's not as fast as you, and he's not all too bright either. Just lure him onto the falling platforms 3 times and you win the fight, leaving Taz Tiger here to fall to his doom. Well, until he turns up again in Warped. If you played through Crash to Insanity hoping for an epic final boss to cap it all off, well, you're in for a disappointment. The Evil Twins is one of the hardest boss fights in the game, but for all the wrong reasons. The fight is split into 3 sections. The first section, Nina needs to disable the power source for the Deathbot's shield generator. In the second, Cortex has to destroy the Deathbot's weapons. And in the final section, Crash gets to use Mecha Bandicoot to finish it off. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, but this boss fight can be downright cheap at times. In order to get to the shield generators, Nina needs to grapple up to them and spin attack them. But unfortunately, the grapple mechanic appears to be broken, so half the time, you're gonna end up falling and most likely freezing in place. Seriously, this happened to me so many times while recording the playthrough, and once you've frozen in place, you're completely defenseless against the horde of enemies the Deathbot keeps spawning to attack you. The Cortex section is hard too. The cannon fire is very difficult to avoid, so it's very easy to die here. At the very least, you have infinite ammo, so there's no risk of running out. Although being able to play as Mecha Bandicoot is awesome, this segment is way too short and just leaves the player wanting more. And you wanna know the worst part about this fight? You're expected to do all 3 segments on a single life. Seriously, die at any point during this boss fight, and you start over again from the very beginning. Fuck this boss. Nitrous Brio is one of the best characters in the series, and it's a damn shame that we barely get to see him at all. He appeared, I think, 4 times in total, maybe 5. Anyway, his boss fight in the original Crash Bandicoot is a lot of fun. You start off having to dodge pink beakers while jumping on the slime blobs that the green beakers spawn. These things are easy enough to take care of, but once you defeat 6 of them, oh boy, that's when things get interesting.
Dr. Banner. Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.
Now fighting against Brio as a giant hulking monster, you need to jump on the rubble he causes to fall from the ceiling and boop him on the head before he can reach you. Do this 3 times to knock him out and win the fight. Kinda sad that this fight is actually better than the final boss of the game. Ah well.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Remember what I said earlier about tedious boss fights being worse than difficult boss fights? Cortex's boss fight from Crash Bandicoot 2 is probably the most tedious boss in the entire series. All you do is chase after him in outer space, avoiding mines and asteroids, while Cortex himself does absolutely nothing to attack you or prevent you from hitting him. Spin attack him 3 times and you win, on to the ending. Definitely not the epic showdown we were hoping for, and probably the most disappointing boss in the entire series.
You raised my hopes and dashed them quite expertly, sir. Bravo!
Engine usually has awesome boss fights, and his Crash Bandicoot 3 fight might just be the best fight in the series. Like his Crash 2 fight, you need to take out his weapons, but unlike in Crash 2, where you were on foot throwing fruit at the weapons, this time you're in outer space shooting at the weapons on his giant mech suit while avoiding his firepower. If that wasn't awesome enough, once you've dealt enough damage to empty his life bar, the suit transforms into a second, more powerful state, equipped with 4 missile launchers, 2 energy cannons, and a projectile weapon of some kind that appears to launch explosive cowpats. Destroy all of that shit, and Engine's suit explodes, sending him drifting off into space and awarding you with the Wumpa Bazooka. Now that is awesome. This has been Equestrian Idiot. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.